I think I'm gonna cry. The last few days it's literally been like nice weather. Hasn't been too hot, hasn't been too cold, and now it's this. Sorry, what? But I've got a lot of stuff to do, and I thought I'd bring you along because why not? Like, you know, it'll be fun. Gotta lunge Sammy, fix fence because Maria and Sammy decided to switch fields last night and do their whole evening routine. So let's do this. I'm feeling brave. I've got a coat. It'll be fine. It's fine. So if you don't know, this is Sammy. He is a 5-year-old and he is extremely clever. So he's already learnt where the treats kept and feeds, and he's now been here for 1 week, which is very exciting. I have ridden him a couple of times, hello, in the field, and it's been going very well. That's my knee. That's my knee. I'm just telling them how clever you are, and then you eat my knee. I'm gonna get all his tack out, groom him, so hopefully he enjoys the rain. We won't need any fly spray today, so it should go quite well, because he's not a fan of fly spray, but we're working on it. And I'll hurry up because I think he's getting a little bit impatient. I love you so much. After telling Sammy how perfect and beautiful and gorgeous he is, I then took him outside to tie him up. It was a little bit drizzly, a little bit misty, but that's okay because he's a horse and he's meant to live outside. He wasn't gonna, I don't know, melt or drown in the rain because he's got grease on him and, you know, he's a horse, he's an outside animal, so he was perfectly fine. Oh, you hiding from the rain? Love you. I find it easier to get all of my tack out straight away rather than, you know, going in and out constantly. So here's the saddle pad, which I feel like I rave about a lot, but I really like. I think it's a fun colour, and the memory foam in the front is just really, really pretty. So go buy one. That's so pretty. I promise I'm not sponsored or any affiliates to Lumia, and I'm not really a saddle pad girly. I just really like the saddle pad, okay? But I always got all my stuff out, and then it was time to put his boots on because he's a youngster and he doesn't really know where all his legs are at the moment. So I like to put 4 brushing boots on just in case, really. Hat on, tack's nearly on. Let's go! Today was a lunging day for Sammy, and I swear the weather is actually better than it looks. Like, it was pretty dire, but it wasn't this diabolical. But I thought I'd show you some different variations of exercises I've been doing with Sammy because you couldn't really see what I was doing lunging him. So this one, we've got 2 poles at the end of like alignment poles to just highlight where we need to stop, try and make him square, and then he's walking up and down these poles to sort of help with balance, a little bit of core work, but it's also a really good mental exercise because he's got to really think where his feet are and think about stopping square and sorting all his legs out, which is a bit of an issue. And then the other variation that I've been doing with him is sort of round on a lunge circle and putting poles out sort of like at a clock, so at different points around the circle. Also, the schooling field is really good, I'm finding, compared to him just working in a school because it's on a bit of a slope, so he really has to think about his balance, using his hind end to balance, and just overall thinking a little bit more. But I finished up lunging him for the day and I took him inside so he could dry off a little bit. So after that, someone is a little bit wet and I've untacked him. Don't eat the ground, come here. Come on, sunshine, let's go. Come on, Samuel, come on. There we go. I then washed Sammy off and left him in his stable to finish up his hay and just have a little bit of a snooze because we all know he kind of likes to do that. So after that, I've now got another job to do because it was rather rainy. I'm now going to clean both my saddle and my bridle so that it doesn't get damaged by the water. Also, sorry if I'm not like as energetic or whatever, but I slept really badly last night and my neck is in pain. It's just one of those days. I'm not sure about any of you, but I find that tack cleaning on a rainy day is just sort of the kind of job that fits the vibe. Like when you're outside and it's really cold and you can come inside and have your boiling hot water, and it's just sort of a cozy vibe, you know? It was also a job that really needed to be done because, as I said, I didn't really want the tack to get stained by the rain or damaged in any way, especially as the saddle I am borrowing from my sister, so I feel like she'd kill me if I accidentally got it stained. So I cleaned it with some like NAF saddle soap, which I feel like I've said before that I use, but it's really nice. It's kind of like a jelly consistency rather than some of the blocks, which are really hard. It's lasted me a really long time as well. So again, I'd recommend. I'm not sponsored. I feel like I've said that before. Nobody's reached out to sponsor me. These are genuinely my opinions. I use it again on my bridle, which you can see me doing just all over, and I find it just keeps it really soft and supple. And then I went over a little bit with some conditioner, which I can't remember what brand it is, but it sort of helped, I guess. Again, just to make sure the tack was nice, soft and supple. And I think that was kind of it. There wasn't really anything special I did. It was just sort of a job that had to be done. I went over my girth, obviously, and then I tipped out all of the water because it was looking a little bit manky and it was time to put everything away. So I had my grooming kit to put away and my saddle pad and just everything. I don't really know. It was just, everything was all over the place, and I felt like I should probably put it away, especially in the lunge line, as if you've got one, you know they can get tangled pretty easily. So I thought I'd sort it out before anything kind of happened to it. So my tack is all clean, and now I need to go outside again because, as I said, Sammy and Maria managed to switch fields last night. I don't know who escaped into whose field, but posts were everywhere. There was wire everywhere and it was just a bit chaotic, and it was really raining this morning, so I thought I'll do half of it and then do it later. And now it's like 4:30 and I kind of need to do it, so yeah, because otherwise they won't really have a field to live in, and like I'm not going to keep them in overnight just because I couldn't be asked to fix a fence. That's not very fair. So I'm going to go out in the rain because it's not raining too badly anymore. I'm going to go out and sort that out. Pray for me. That's all I'm saying. I feel like it's a good time as well to point out that my wellies have holes in them. But the reason I chose to wear wellies was because my riding boots actually have more holes in them. And my trainers are falling apart. Let's do this. I do touch on it in a moment, but I am actually in the process of kind of redoing all the fencing. I bought new electric fencing. I'm going to buy some new posts, some new clips, just everything to redo the whole system basically, because all of the kind of tapes and stuff are getting a bit old, which is why they're breaking really easily, and it's just becoming a little bit unsafe. So it is a work in progress. I know, don't come for me or anything. I'm fully aware of it, which is why I'm actively seeking to try and change it and make it better for all of the horses. But yeah, it was kind of a bit of a mess and wasn't really worth saving, so I went and dumped it. Here's our little rubbish pile. And then I went and grabbed some new clips and a little roll of tape and just tried my best to make it better and safe for the night, and then later I could come in with some new stuff and really sort it out and make it properly horse worthy. As you can see, the clouds are grey and disgusting, and I wasn't feeling it. It's not the best job that I decided, especially after tack cleaning with the warm water. Yeah, I just sort of put this off as long as possible, which might not have been the best decision. I probably should have done this and then tack cleaned and dried off a little bit, but you know, hindsight is a wonderful thing, and we live and we learn. But as you can see, the fence is sort of coming together. We had, you know, a top rail, a bottom rail, and it was slowly starting to work, but the camera is sort of losing visibility, so sorry about that. You can see exactly how much it was raining and I had a giant coat on, but I don't know what to say. It was just an awful job, and I didn't like it. I was sort of crying inside. I don't know if I was crying outside as well, because my tears were just kind of getting mixed up with the rain, but it was fine. It wasn't actually too cold because it is summer, so the weather, it wasn't freezing. If this was winter, I think I probably just would have moved fields and been like, nope, not happening today. But it was summer, so it's fine. But why is it this wet in summer? Like, come on, where's the heat wave? Last year though, I think last year was maybe a little bit too hot, so I'm glad that the ground isn't as bad this year. But still, come on, what is happening? What is up? I need to speak to somebody about this awful weather because it's actually slightly driving me insane. But anyway, that's horses, that's the ups and downs, and yeah. Oh my god, I almost finished the fence, look at me. So I think it's just the final touches, and then I can finally go inside and finish up the horses for the day. Okay, I finally finished the fence. It's looking a lot better. I don't know if it's perfect. I do need to go and buy some more electric fencing at some point. Now I can actually feed the horses, and I've actually soaked through to the bone. Like, even though I'm wearing this coat, okay, my top half is fine. Legs soaked, feet, I have puddles on my wellies. Yeah, my head is soaking as well. So, love summer. So now that all the fences are safe and ready for the horses for the night, it was then time to make up feeds. So we added some apple cider vinegar, some water, and then I'm going to cut up some apples because it's always really good to have something succulent in their feeds with some minerals, some vitamins, and just, you know, a little bit of texture. But I always leave 2 sizes out for Maria because, as you guys know, she can be a little bit tricky to let go of in the field. Sometimes she kind of gallops off. But here's Sammy getting his dinner. He finds it very, very exciting because, you know, he's a young horse. This is probably like the most exciting bit of his day, like a young child. He loves his dinner, so there it is in his bright green bucket. And then I'll go grab Tiny's, who is very, very excited too, although at 23 he kind of knows the routine. It's not quite as an exciting part of his day. And Maria always finds dinner exciting. She's one of the most foodie horses. As you can see, she's like pawing the ground, telling me exactly where she wants it. She's 19, been a 3-star eventer, and food is still her favourite thing in the world. But then I decided to get some rugs for them because I felt a little bit sad for them turning out at night, and I chose some waterproof rugs. So here's Sammy's with a neck because he's not quite as tough as the others. Maria's has just got waterproof, no neck. She's a big strong girly, and I thought I'd turn her out. So here's the field that she's going into, close it, and then in a minute, yeah, you'll see that she gets very, very excited. I always give her a little piece of apple before she gets let go, and then normally what happens is she'll get another piece once her head collar's off, but she loves the wet weather, so it was kind of a let and run off moment. I don't know why, she just adores it. And then Sammy got turned out, so here he is in the field. He's not quite as much of a fan of it as Maria. And then I sort of had to drag Tiny out. He also wasn't feeling it, despite being a Shetland, you know, a native breed, naturally designed for these kind of weather conditions. He wasn't feeling it. He stopped halfway up actually and wanted to turn around and go back to bed, but if he didn't go out, then he wouldn't get any grass, and I thought he might appreciate that. But field's all done, electric on, and it was time to sort out all of the stables. So the first thing I do is pick up all of the poo. So here I am in Sammy's stable, just picking up his poo, and then I'll swoop the bed back. I like to push all the bed back afterwards just to give the mats a bit of a chance to dry if he's peed on any, because there's a bit of concrete at the back with a thicker bit of bedding. And then I'll sweep up any of the hay that he's left, some of the seeds, and then either that'll go on the muck heap or we'll reseed it onto some of the fields to kind of help the grass come through and for it to grow. After I've done the waters, I'll then move on to Tiny's stable. So again, I'm going to come and take out all his poo, and then I'll sweep his bed back. He's not as messy as this normally. He's pretty good at keeping all his bedding in the back section. And then I move on to Maria's. So hay nets come down, poo comes out. It's the same sort of thing. Her bed, all their beds are laid out slightly differently with the mats, just because of what works for them and what they liked and what fits in the stables, because the stables are also slightly different sizes. She's probably the messiest out of all of them, but again, she's not too bad. None of them are awful horses to muck out. Okay, all the stables are actually done now. Actually, I lie. I still need to do Maria and Tiny's water and some hay nets, so, you know, still crying inside. Although I've just mucked out all the stables, I'm not going to empty the wheelbarrow because I don't want to go out in the rain anymore, and I've taken my coat off because it was too wet and it was getting heavy. So I'm going to leave it for tomorrow. So that's why we're not emptying the wheelbarrow. The next job, of course, is to sort out all of the hay. So Maria and Tiny have theirs in hay nets because they're a little bit grittier. They eat a little bit faster than Sammy does, whereas Sammy has his on the ground, but I transport it in this bag just because it's easier. He has his on the ground because I really want to stretch his neck out, sort out all his muscles, and it's just kind of better for him in general. I don't know, maybe that's personal opinion, but I just did some research and I just prefer his hay on the ground for him. Then I do Tiny's and Maria's. Theirs is hung up in the middle of the stable. I feel like I've said this before, but it just is a little bit more difficult for them. They have to use their brains a little bit. I don't think Tiny could have his on the ground because being blind, he just walk it everywhere, and Maria, I think hers will just be gone in about 2 seconds. But the next bit is to sort out all the waters. So Maria's gets filled up with the hose while I sort out everything else. Well, I mean, I kind of maybe put these in the wrong order, but I also washed out feed buckets, and then I can transport the water into Tiny's stable because the hose doesn't quite reach there, but filling up the hose in Maria's stable means that I can kind of multitask. Tiny's stable's all done now, which is perfect, and then after this, Maria's stable will also be done. So I'll just close up all the doors, switch all the lights off, and then fill up the bucket, close the gates, and just kind of check everything is ready for tomorrow. Because me, my mum, and sometimes my sister come after the horses, we have a feed board so that everyone knows exactly what kind of feeds all the horses should be on, and then it's really easy to change them because it's on a whiteboard, just like the labels in the tack room. So we just wipe them off. They don't get fed a huge variety of feeds. They get a couple of supplements, but it's all pretty simple. It was a new feed day for Tiny today, so I brought the bag in, emptied it up, and then tipped it out. I like these bags because they're papers, so we can recycle them, and it's just maybe a little bit better for the planet. And then I will start with the feeds with putting all the water in, just so I don't forget it, and I just find it easier, okay? And then we soak some of the feeds. Maria's doesn't need to be soaked, but we do ours in the morning, in the evening anyway. I don't know why I'm saying the morning, but it's easy for the morning, and mix it all up, and I don't know, all good, all done. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm currently wet, cold, and I want to go home, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video to anyone and everyone, because it really does help with the algorithm, and kind of battling against that at the moment. Yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye!